Hello and welcome to Behind the Scenes of a Board Game Publisher. I am Peter Vaughan at Cardboard Alchemy. We have survived the food coma of Thanksgiving, and welcome. You know, we have some people joining us on this Friday because it's a good gaming weekend. But of course, whenever you're watching this, you can tune in and ask some questions, and we'll answer them. We always like to chat about games, what you're playing, what we're playing, what's going on with the games we're making. Behind me is Critter Kitchen, which is a backdrop of the next game that we're making here at Cardboard Alchemy, and it is delivering in 2025, so we're super excited. It's also very food themed, so it felt like the perfect transition for Thanksgiving weekend. A lot of us have been chefs in the kitchen. I didn't have to be a chef. Last year I was cooking the whole thing, and this year I just brought the pie, which is the key thing to do. We've got some folks saying hello. I think we're gonna have some international friends. There we go, from Mexico. Nice to see you. But we also have Mark here, who's always good for talking about Andromeda's Edge. Hopefully you're doing well in your game today. Look at that. He's already chiming in with game 76. You might get ahead of how many times I've played Andromeda's Edge. And Mark's waving to Rosie, who is in the chat, welcoming everybody, our comms manager. We have a lot of exciting things happening at Cardboard Alchemy. We can't talk about all of the things yet for 2025, but we have very exciting things happening. So, but we are going to talk about what games we're playing, what games we've been playing recently. Also gift guides, because it's that time of the year where you're trying to think about other people and what you might want to stuff in stockings or whatnot to get everyone else addicted to games. That's what we're here for. The last time I was on the stream, because last week was taken over by Chris Strain and Michael Gugliano. They both run the full 42, and they did an amazing job doing a top 5 and taking over the stream. I missed the week before that, and the last time I was, because I was at BGG. So the last time I was on was a ways back in November, and since then I've played so many games, like tons of games. So I could talk about those, some surprises that I've run into. And then also Rosie is back as well. Now she was on a different kind of a holiday, which was for a wedding, and I have a picture that she shared right here. This is from her wedding that she's so graciously shared with us. And look at the games that particularly, I love how they're surrounded by games in a wedding photo, by the way. That's awesome. And that the theme was also to spread games. I'm sure everyone had a fun time. They've got Andromeda's Edge and Flamecraft flanking them, which I think is a nice touch. Since she works here now. And but there's a lot of games there. I'd like to seriously go to a wedding where there's playing games, let me tell you. Because I'm not necessarily I'm definitely into the food, not necessarily always into the dancing. Depends on how much alcohol there is. But games, I could always do a games event, no matter what. Which is indicative of my November, since I went to Texas for gaming, and then I went to North Carolina for gaming, and pretty soon next week I'm going to Philly for gaming, because I just can't get enough of the gaming. Rosie did not get to play any games at the wedding. Well, I mean, that tracks. You're just a little bit busy. You get the benefit of all the gaming after that, whenever you go somewhere else after that, then you get to say, now I'm spending quality gaming time with my partner. The other thing so I'll show another picture, which is from my last weekend, which was in North Carolina with the designer of Critter Kitchen. I went to go visit Alex Cutler, one of the co-designers, and I brought him the game because he should get it first. He and Peter, we have a couple of copies that have just come in. We were getting the copies on boats. And so I had Critter Kitchen, and we brought it, and we had a gaming. It was called Friendsgiving. So it was a pre-Thanksgiving event to play games. And Alex actually cooked up the entire meal. So it was an awesome time. And I brought games. A lot of people brought games. That mission was interesting because what I needed to bring for that one was what packed really. First of all, I needed to bring games that packed in one suitcase because I was traveling light, and so that eliminated some new Essen releases that I wanted to bring because they were really big. But the second thing is that there were 8 people, and I wanted to make sure, if possible, to bring games that played 8 or 7 or 6. I was trying to get. I know we could split up into groups, but when you go to a game event and the first thing that everyone wants to do is not split up. So we were playing, Critter Kitchen plays 7, by the way. So that worked out because Alex taught that, and we played a big 7-player game of Critter Kitchen. But I also brought other titles that were good for 6s and 7s and 8s. So I've got those games in my that we could talk about those. The other thing that I want to talk about is we sometimes talk about Kickstarters and games we're backing around here. And I want to mention one that is like really personal to me because it's a friend of mine who's been making games forever. It's Jeff Zyc, who runs Guerrilla Games, has been in the industry for a long time. I met and learned from Jeff at basically I would go to a game store. He was publishing games. I was publishing my first game. I got paired up with him and we ended up talking about the business, and I learned so much from Jeff, and he's been in it a long time. And recently, Jeff has 2 things. He's gotten sick. Now he's fighting cancer, and I've never seen anyone fight cancer as positively as Jeff. Like, his attitude about life is like pouring through, and his spirit is so amazing. And in the middle of fighting cancer, he launched a Kickstarter because when you're a game publisher, you don't let anything stop you. Certainly not if you're Jeff. And he launched a game that I really think I could have published if Cardboard Alchemy makes different kind of games. So this doesn't fit our brand per se, but I really like it. I think this is one of the most innovative concepts I've ever seen in a long time. And it's that you have you're playing cooperatively with a board and you have tiles, Tetris pieces, and they're all these terrible things like isolation and depression and fear and jealousy. This is actually an interesting relationship game because it doesn't matter what relationship you're talking about. There are these things that get in the way of relationships. But the theme of the game is that the love tiles eliminate the rules constraints of the other tiles. So basically, if you play the depression tile, then you only can play the depression tile is that your future plays can't touch more than one tile because you're depressed and it's this little box cube that you put on the board. But if you play a love tile that touches the depression tile, then its rule turns over to the other side and it no longer affects your plays. And I think he was so creative with the way that he made the tiles. For example, when you have distance in a relationship, when you're far apart from someone, that tile is a very, very long single height, like super long horizontal tile. So you're distant. So you have to play all your tiles far away from the other ones. It's just a really interesting idea. And as a cooperative game, you have to work together to solve that puzzle. And everyone starts getting these rules like, oh, I can't put any tiles that are like jealousy. This one says that you have to touch your last play and your next play because that tile wants to keep touching the other tiles. So you have to keep these constraints on you at all times, and you have to strategically decide which love tiles need to be played to cancel out the tiles that are blocking you from finishing the puzzle. It's really good. And like I said, I think there's no one more deserving than Jeff Zyc and his company, Guerrilla Games. So I strongly advise that if you have any way to support that game, or you could go shout it out if you think the concept is cool. I'm trying to help Jeff make sure he gets to his goal because I love the games he makes. And I think that he's the epitome of a small indie creator. It's a one-man team. And I think that's an interesting game. So I can't wait to have that one. And of course, we're pulling for him. In the Kickstarter, he's like very open about the cancer. So I don't, I think that's fine to say it. But he's also like, I'm going to be around making games. Don't worry about me. I hope so. Anyway, I wanted to mention that one because normally we talk about Kickstarter games as support, but Love Conquers All is a great theme in general. And so I love that concept. Anyway, we can talk about more games. Rosie had an idea, which is to talk about gift guides and what games you would give. If for the holidays, well, one of the goals is, well, you are trying to get something to possibly a non-gamer, right? So sometimes Rosie and I talked about this. Sometimes if you're buying for a gamer, that's very easy because they usually have a BGG list. They usually tell you exactly what they want if you're buying for someone. I know that when I'm looking for board games, I basically I telegraph exactly which one to get. So the gift guide might be better for, say, someone who I'm seeming like I'm freezing up. I don't know if Rosie's noticing that as well. I apologize if the stream is freezing. But a gift guide for other folks in your life might be good. And so Rosie has started with some options for you, which I'm going to tell you right now. So she has categories, which I thought was really nice of her to do. So, for example, she has, for a family game, she's listed Things and Rings. Now that one, I really agree with that pick. She mentions in this chat that it could be her game of the year, when I was also thinking the same thought. It's so good. It's so versatile. It works for big groups, which is one of its main advantages. It was definitely brought on that trip to Alex's place because it was, by his friend, and our friend Peter Hayward is the designer of Things and Rings, and it was published by Allplay. And Things and Rings is Venn diagram the game. I mean, it's a Dr. Seuss theme. It's very light. It plays a number of people, and you're trying to play all your cards. And your cards have rules to them. There are 3 circles. One is about the word itself. One is about its physical attributes, and one is about its context in the world, like things that belong in a school, things that are made out of metal, and things that start with a vowel. And as someone plays a card like Umbrella, the person who knows the rules is like, well, Umbrella does start with a vowel, so that goes in the yellow circle. It's not made of metal, or maybe they start to think, oh, well, it has some metal, so I'll put it in that one. But you decide where it goes. If it goes in both red and yellow, you put it in both red and yellow. If it doesn't go, if the person plays it in a ring that doesn't go in, then the knower, the person who knows the rules, moves it to an appropriate circle so that everyone else gains clues. Now, you don't actually have to know the rules to win. You just have to get out of cards. So if I put a card in the blue circle and I don't even know what the rule is, but it works, I get to keep playing. And so you don't have to know the rules, which is kind of fun. You might think you know the rules. We had one, I played this for Thanksgiving. I tested it out. It does, in fact, I had non-gamers, my family was the perfect group because they tend to get very nervous about a strategy game, but they weren't nervous to play this one. And we had one rule that must be 5 letters or fewer. That was for the yellow circle, and it was really fun to see them really rack their brain about why is that one in that circle and why is it not in that circle. Anyway, it plays for a lot of groups, so that was her family game pick. On the other topic, she mentioned a co-op pick, which is The Gang. If I'm not mistaken, The Gang is the one that's about poker. Is that right, Rosie? Yeah. The Gang is a fun concept where you're trying to cooperatively play poker. Recently, Shut Up and Sit Down covered it, and it was really funny because they're like, cooperatively play poker, that doesn't sound good. But it is good. It works in an amazing way because you actually are playing Texas Hold'em and you're playing a poker hand. You've got the rankings of poker hands, and you are with your team. It's like loosely themed to a heist. You are, without talking, grabbing a poker chip that sort of indicates how strong you feel your hand is, and everyone else is grabbing a poker chip and can grab yours away from you, and all of you are kind of negotiating silently who has the best hand, and then the flop is dealt, and then you might do it again, and then the turn is dealt, and you do it again, and then by the river, you actually have to figure out who does have the best hand, but you can use all the information from the past turns to help you, and it's very good. I think that game is excellent. It's a good cooperative game. Also on Rosie's list for stocking fillers, I have not played these. Holiday Hijinks, 18-card escape rooms. Those do sound like a good stocking filler because if it's 18 cards and it's an escape room, that's pretty much good for anyone, and it's going to be small. And those are really fun to play. I played a mystery deduction game at Alex's that was like a Sherlock. It was Sherlock Holmes has already solved the case, and you have to solve the case with pieces of evidence cards. Everyone's playing evidence cards, and you have to decipher which pieces of evidence are important and which ones are not. I do think that escape rooms and sort of mysteries are really good contenders for any list. And Rosie does list one for the board gamer who has it all, Tower Rex inserts, because our friends at Tower Rex make all sorts of wooden inserts. They do make one for Flamecraft, for example, which if you have the standard edition of Flamecraft and you're looking for a way to organize it, Tower Rex makes this really cool. It's beautiful because it's got a fountain in there. They've actually replicated the fountain, and you put all the little dragons around the fountain if you've owned the deluxe pieces. And they've got all sorts of clever ways of holding the cards. They usually do, like, if I'm not mistaken, like really clever lids systems with like the way they store everything in the box with clear lids. Tower Rex is amazing. On my gift guide, I actually was talking to, and then of course Rosie threw in that Andromeda's Edge could be on everyone's gift guide, which I agree. It just come out in retail. That's for the board gamer that you know wants a deep game that replays all the time. If they don't already own it, if they've not already rushed out and backed, I mean, yeah. But anyway, so I was asking Brad what it was on his list, and he mentioned a game that I have played a couple times, and I agree with. Far Away is another good one for really simple but innovative. Probably one of the most innovative games I've seen come out this year, just in terms of the gameplay. You are, I'm trying to remember what the theme. The theme feels like an alien planet, and there's all these different people you're meeting in Far Away that you're playing cards, and you're going to end up playing to an objective that's like 12 cards down. I don't have the exact rules, but the timing of everything is such that the first card you play down can its objectives must be met on no other cards, but the last card you play down can use the resources of everything previously. I believe that's right, or is that the reverse? It's really good. It's really good because it's for a simple card game is a very thinky experience, but it's a blast. I believe Chris taught it to me when he came in, so he'll of course agree with me. But it lasts. It's one of those games where one of my biggest beefs with small move forwards, think backwards. That's the trick in that game. But with small games, I tend to think they you play them one time and you think, oh, that was all right, and that was pretty fun. But then they're done. Like if you've played them a time or two, you're done with those games. Far Away, I think, definitely has, you're like, oh, next time I'm gonna get this and this and this. I'm gonna do better, and you're thinking about your next play. I played another game twice recently, or 3 times, which was called Castle Combos. This is a little small game that I think it's not for a I wouldn't put that in the list for a non-gamer, but I would put it immediately on the list for any gamer because it really is simple and easy and addictive as hell. It's really good. It does exactly what it says. You're going to be playing combos. You actually build a grid of 3x3 so there's only 9 turns. And during your turn, you could either draft one of the cards from the village or one of the cards from the castle. And there is a couple nuances to that. There's colors of the cards. There's also the cost to buy the cards. You start with $15 and you're buying 9 cards, and some of them are like $7. Morning, Tim. It's good to see you. You're buying some of the cards are like 7 coin or 8 coin. Some of them are 0 or whatever, and they each have a trigger effect when you put it in your grid and a end game scoring effect. So really, by the end of the game, you're hoping that all 9 of your cards score you about 10 points, but it is easier said than done, because sometimes you get a card and it says, okay, when you draft this card, it'll give you a coin back for every orange card in your every orange card in your whole grid. And at the end of the game, it'll give you 10 points if you have no green cards in your grid. So meanwhile, you're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to grab any green cards. And then later, about a turn later, you're like, oh, but that's a really good green card. Castle Combos is so good. It plays really well. Board Games Creation Calendar is an amazing gift. This is the Board Games creation is run by Katja Howitson. She does calendars every year. Every year, the calendars feature board game art that she puts together as mosaics, which are like tons of little game pieces that form a bigger image. One time she did one of a Flamecraft dragon. She's done the Cardboard Alchemy logo. They're really creative, but what I really love about her calendar is that she's thinking about the functionality of a calendar. So there'll be these fun objectives inside the calendar, like this month, try to play a game with 5 players, or this month play a co-op, or this month play a game that has the faction color of purple in the game. So I think she does these really fun interactive things with the calendar with important dates marked. And there's also, usually she provides a 10 by 10 grid, so that if you're going into next year and you want to play one of those 10 by 10 is sort of something that people do where they try and play 10 games 10 times during the year. Easier said than done, because if you pick a game for your 10 by 10 and then you're distracted by all the other shiny games, it's hard to get a game to the table 10 times. But usually she'll have something in those calendars to help you mark off your 10 by 10. Look at Tim's chiming in. Supernova plus retail edition of AE, or the all-in of AE and then snacks plus game night of AE is on his gift guide. I mean, we appreciate that. I see Tim's TikToks and he's got all these fun looks at new games, and so we appreciate the fact that you have given such a nice look at Andromeda's Edge. What's the worst game to put on a 10 by 10? That's an interesting question. Well, Twilight Imperium might be a very difficult one to put on 10 by 10. Any game that's going to take you 10 hours or 12 hours to play the game is going to be a tricky one. There's Seventh Continent is an interesting one. Yeah, there's certain games that burn you out maybe on a play. So like any game that would be any game that's legacy or heavy campaign would maybe be difficult on a 10 by 10. Although actually it might be easy on a 10 by 10 because you just, if you're going to go session after session and kind of get it done. So I've tried to do 10 by 10s because I do sometimes run into a game where I'm like, oh, I want to play that one a lot. I want to dive into that game. But I don't tend to continue with those because I do fall into, if you don't count Cardboard Alchemy games, which I could easily play a 10 by 10 of. But I'm talking about like I have too many distractions. But I do know that some of my friends who come over to play a game, I'm like, oh, I want to show you like Lost Runes of Arnak. Like, let's say I'm introducing that game for the first time to somebody. Then he comes to the next game night and I teach him something else, and he goes, I want to play that Lost Runes game and do better at it. I just barely understood it by the time I finished, and I don't want to start a brand new one. I want to play the one that we played last time and then dig in. And sometimes I think that's the drive to play those. Tim has got a problem with the Plutonian Empire. Or wait, are you saying you destroyed with the Plutonium Empire? Because that's a good faction. As we know from the time you came into the office and Chris Strain beat us all with that faction. In a fun behind-the-scenes thing, I will tell you that we've been having some fun because Luke and Maximus are working on Andromeda's Edge faction ideas for expansions, which has been fun to talk about. And since Tim is in this channel, I can leak this right now for you, Tim. Luke has taken your thoughts very seriously about Raider rewards. And I will tell you that right now, he is working on a small deck of cards that will be a different set of Raider rewards because we heard you loud and clear. And they're really exciting. So anyway, more on that to come in 2025. We'll be talking about that stuff. Yeah, we got some Andromeda's Edge cooking. We also have Oh man, you gotta stay strong to play some more Andromeda's Edge. Just hold on. But Luke and Maximus are on the case. So Axel says, I have a friend who never wants to replay games, always has new games to try. Yeah, it's there's definitely like two, I can see both sides, right? I do like to play all the new stuff. I went to Essen and bought new stuff, some of which I haven't even gotten to the table yet, like Civolution. I can't wait to play Civolution. But I just dug into SETI, for example, from buying that at Essen, and I want to play that more. I want to like really figure out how to do better. It's like the first time we played, we got some rules wrong. Second time I played, I did understand the rules, but I just was like, I'm starting to see how these cards work better together. Yeah, and I really want to dig in. So there's a definite dichotomy between wanting to try all the stuff because you're like, I want to try Fromage and I want to try this one and that one, and I just got some games I just got the Endeavor Deep Sea, and then you start getting, you're like, I want to try them all. I got Middle Ages. I played that with my son. I've been like on this new game. This is the season, so I've been getting new games. But then you do want to go back and say, wait a second, let me see if I can do that game better. One game that I played at BGG that was really fun by the same designer as SETI was Galileo Galilei, and I think that that game was even better than SETI, and I want to play that immediately again to try and do better, because I had tried a very crazy strategy my first play because I was trying all the things, and now I immediately want to go play that again and see if I can do that combo better. I would say, Mark, happy to keep playing the same game over and over. You have proven that, my friend. I think the only person I know who's recorded 500 plays of a game. So I think you could get the award. We've got some other chat here. I think Rosie was chiming in that she got River Valley Glassworks. That's very pretty. They did a nice job, I think, on the deluxe. Excellent. I love worker placement and the time mechanism in Fromage, and their lazy Susans are well accomplished. I do want to play that. Every person I've heard play Fromage has said it's been pretty good, so I want to try that one out. I played a game that I instantly fell in love with at the retreat with Alex, and it's not even a new game. So I played this game, and I absolutely, it was just perfect for me. I just really enjoyed it. It's called Merchants of Magic, and it is a roll and write that came out, I believe, during the pandemic from Rock Manor Games, and it is like, it scratches an itch to me of like, it's sort of a D&D set collection, or just like, basically you're an NPC, you're selling goods. You're going to have all of these adventurers come in to buy shields, and they're going to buy bracers, and they're going to buy rings, and they're going to buy scrolls, and they're going to get some potions from you, and you're crafting these things. You don't know how to make anything at the beginning, and there are 4 dice rolled. There's a D6 rolled, there's a D8 rolled, there's a D10 rolled, and there's a D12 rolled. And you can only use 2 of those dice, and then you're marking your sheet, because I said it's a roll and write. So everyone's marking their sheet up with what they want to sell. There are lots of things you can focus on, things that are made for like sort of the elves, of the dwarves. You can make things that are fiery or elemental. You can make things that are armor based, or you can make things that are weapon based, and you've got the options to do whatever you want. Meanwhile, in front of your shop are 3 goals. This is my favorite part about this game. There are 3 goals in front of you that you could make, like fiery sword of the elves, and it's right in front of you, and it tells you how many points if you can make it. But you have 1 turn to use those 2 dice, and then one of those cards is going to leave you and go to the person on your shop to your left, and then they could try and make it. And meanwhile, you're going to get a card from the person to your right. And so I found that very fascinating, that customers are very fickle, and you haven't made the fiery sword of the elves. I'm sorry, I'm out. I'm going to the next store to see if they're going to make it for me. So this very interesting interaction of looking about like 4 stores down to see what the hell that customer wants, because if it doesn't get made by the time it gets to you, you have the shot to make it. I thought that was an absolutely fun puzzle to try and solve, because if the person to your right can make, fiery stuff, and you can make fiery stuff, you might not get any of it because they're just going to keep making it. Plus, there's 2 expansions now, I think, and we played the expansions, and I thought they were really fun. They add there's a champion that comes into your store, and if you give the champion everything that they need, then they're going to go fight a monster, and there's ways that you can fight the monster. So I absolutely loved that game. I'm gonna have to find that one now. Here's a good question. My colleagues do not want to play games with me where they have to learn a lot of rules. In your experience, how hard is it to teach Critter Kitchen, and how long does it usually take? Well, good news, Critter Kitchen is on the lighter side. It is not the lightest, it's not Andromeda's Edge. I think I can do Critter Kitchen in about 5 to 10 minutes. Critter Kitchen is a very simple concept. You're running a restaurant. You're in Bistro Bay. There's a critic coming into the end of the week, and you have to serve a 7-course meal to this critic. Here are the 7 courses. Every round, we're going to be running around getting ingredients, and everyone's running around getting ingredients at the same time, and you're going to do this for 7 rounds. There are ways to get stars at the end of the game, and there's also ways to serve up some food in the middle of the game. It doesn't take me too long to kind of explain. You have a small, a medium, and a large chef, and you're going to be getting ingredients. Now, we deliberately built Critter Kitchen with the beginner mode. Sort of the base version of the game is just that, right? It's, especially if you play a game with sort of Flamecraft, people who've played, games of that weight, I think that everyone's going to do fine. You have a restaurant, you have 3 chefs, it's simultaneous play. And after one round, after one sampling of that, every round is the same thing. So it's not hard. It's not like you have to learn brand new things. You just have to get past that initial, hey, this is what we're going to do. If you haven't run a restaurant before as a mouse, a lizard, and a boar, is what's going to be like. And there's 2 shops that are a little different, like the Midnight Merchant's a little different, and the Chef Academy's a little different. So you're going to have to, there's rules in the game, but in the beginning, if you're not adding player powers or location powers, it's a very simple teach, in my opinion. And I have a lot of practice running around to conventions and teaching games like Andromeda's Edge, which takes me a good 30 minutes. I can't get that, I can't explain all the rules to that one in such a short amount of time. But Critter Kitchen, it's a simple concept, and everything in the game feels like it fits. Like grabbing ingredients, grabbing carrots. Oh, the 7 is the best one, and the 2 is the worst one. I mean, it's a simple teach to me. I hope that helps. I hope that proves true for your colleagues. It's not the lightest. Like the games we were talking about earlier, when there's a card game, I will say that if you have one of those stocking stuffers we mentioned, or the gang, or Far Away, or Things and Rings, I think those are really fast, because if you just have cards, you're explaining a simple concept. When you have pieces on a board and there's cards as well, like Critter Kitchen has, it's 1 level up from that. But 5 to 10 minutes, I think you can get that game explained. We had a convention called an internal convention at Cardboard Alchemy called Potion Con. Hopefully we'll get to do that again. Potion Con was run during the launch to Critter Kitchen, and one of the things I thought was the best part about Potion Con is how fast our community all learned the game, and we're teaching other people the game. That happened almost, instantly. I saw people able to teach Critter Kitchen to other people, so that was a good sign. I will say that Critter Kitchen, and this is a fair warning, and for our backers or people who watch this and get the all-in or get the deluxe Critter Kitchen, there's a lot in that one. And so over the past, I have brought out the all the things version of Critter Kitchen to gamers at BGG and even people at Alex's retreat. That's a lot to take in, even for gamers. I mean, it's deep. We stopped deliberately with there's 18 different carts, and you can only play 3 in a game because more than 3 would be too much. The boxes, as Rosie points out, is a chunky critter. And if you take out everything, if you take out all the meeples and all the cart ingredients and all the locations and all the restaurateurs and the different challenges and the fancy stars, and you take out the soup bowl, and if you take it, it's a big one. I actually think, and I'm warning Rosie now, when we do a video that explains what happens when you get this box, there's actually probably an hour of like putting it all in the right spot. But I mean, I love it. It's so many components and so much fun, and everyone was oohing and ahhing over the meeples and the stars and the things that you have in that box. But it's going to be it's a big one. It's actually a lot of stuff in there. 90 stretch goals. That's how many we unlocked. So that happens. Hey, how's it going? It's good to see you. We're having a chat about board games. So chime in if you have games that you're playing this weekend. We actually, it reminds me, we are having every month I do a play test in Los Angeles. So we're having, it's called First Play LA. It was a friend of mine came up with the idea of playing board games early when they haven't been play tested and no one's tried them yet. And you're wanting to see if they even work. So designers sign up for a slot. We have like 2-hour slots where you can sign up and you bring your game and you test it with people and you find out what went well, what didn't go well. It is fun because you see new people and you see designers that, established. You see people like, I saw Jeff Zyc bring Love Conquers All there. That's why I have played that one. But you also see people who bring like a first-time design. We are actually going to, Cardboard Alchemy is going to join that First Play LA tomorrow, the November version of that event, and we're going to bring Flamebound plus a Flamecraft surprise plus Whisperwood. So we're gonna get some things on the table. But we want to hear what everyone's playing for Thanksgiving weekend. Mark's got we played Gentle Rain and Match Madness. It's fun. I've heard good things about Gentle Rain. Rosie has chimed in about that one before. So that sounds fun. I am looking forward to getting more Whisperwood on the table. I know Chris talked about it in our last stream. I brought it to BGG, played it 2 times at BGG, it went over really well. People who have played Orleans and Altiplano and played Bag Builders will appreciate some of the things going on in Whisperwood. And we'll be talking more about that one next year as we are working on it. We're working on a lot of different things around here. Critter Kitchen, of course, being the one that we're going to come out with next. Chris saying woot. I'm not sure if he's talking about Whisperwood or Critter Kitchen, but probably Whisperwood because he's one of the designers. But yeah, I can't wait to share more about that one. It's for anyone who doesn't know the story of Whisperwood, it is when we first started the company, we made a Kickstarter that was all about art and game trays. So the art that we had was from Sergio Chavez, and we asked him to make a fantasy, an action, and a horror coaster. And of course I don't have the image ready, but on the no, I do. On the fantasy coaster was this golem right here. And this golem, everyone said, what game is that from? I want to play that game. And we also wanted to play that game. And Brad and I joked in a stream that it was like a bag builder, even though we had not made it, or we had no idea what it was going to be. And so then everyone was like, well, I want to play this bag builder. So then Brad and Chris and Aaron started building said bag builder. So you are playing a druid in a forest that's long been corrupted, and the air is thick and the water is murky, and the forest is all destroyed from a big battle with a dark sorcerer. Many centuries ago, there was this ancient magic, and the golems defended the forest, but in doing so, they shut down, and the forest has gone dark. Everything is corrupted, and you come in with the help of the animals. You as a druid are going to restore the air and the water and the earth. You're going to talk to these ancient golems, wake them back up, and learn their secrets, learn their powers. And you're going to put in your bag all of these elements, but also as you talk to animals, you're going to take their tokens and put them in your bag and learn. And as they come out, they'll help you do new actions. It's going to be a lot of fun. Whisperwood's a pretty deep, beefy, thinky game. So we're excited for that one. And beautiful. Sergio Chavez is already working on all sorts of art for it. So he knows how to make gorgeous, gorgeous backgrounds and amazing characters. The golems themselves are going to be pretty interesting, but the animals are going to be a very interesting take on, spiritual, interesting, different animals that you haven't seen. We have some more games being mentioned. Ransom Notes yesterday with family. So we can play a few German card games that our friends just sent us. I cannot pronounce those. Alpharos and Kulhandel. I can't say it, but I think that's cool. Ransom Notes, I've heard some things about. It seems like that one is a popular one for a big group. If I got the right one. Games with family, that's what we're talking about. This is a good time for that. I have been trying to get games with family since I was a kid. I have a family that doesn't necessarily play games. So when I was younger, I would take whatever we could get. After Thanksgiving dinner, I would take any family member that wasn't conked out and moving on to, sleep or sports or something else. And I would try to get them to play anything. If it was like the dictionary game, if it was, like some card game, some word game, anything, because I wanted to basically be gaming for Thanksgiving weekend. Telestrations and Code Names and Potion Explosion are all good contenders, especially for family. Those are good. Oh, this is interesting. Can Sergio join the live stream as a special guest? I wish we could get Sergio to join the live stream. He's a very private person. But he might draw us some. He has done a sort of like behind the scenes, like he'll draw like a time elapse of like how he gets all of his art done. Hopefully I can get him to do that for a special 2025 thing. All right. Well, I think we have, we've chatted about games. We, of course, will answer any more questions if you have them. If you have any questions that didn't get answered, or you want to chat about Critter Kitchen some more or Andromeda's Edge, you can always leave a comment in this stream. We'll answer it. You can talk to us on Facebook. We've got Facebook groups for Critter Kitchen, Andromeda's Edge, and Flamecraft. And I should mention that, I think tomorrow is a deadline to chime in and share a picture in one of those groups to win a T-shirt for one of those games. You can share Flamecraft or Andromeda's Edge. It's on December 1st. I think you got to turn it in by then. You can, since you don't have Critter Kitchen yet, you can just share a picture of a recipe from Turkey Day or from whenever, or share a picture of one of your critters in your household. That's all you have to do to win a shirt from us. But anyway, if you want to talk about these games, we also have a Discord where people are playing Andromeda's Edge and Critter Kitchen and Flamecraft. We're going to be playing some more games in those Discords with fans who like, if we have any Flamecraft fans in the house, we have a lot of Flamecraft stuff coming, and we're going to be playing new Flamecraft stuff in our Discord. So if you want to join us there, you could get in on some of the games, just like I was talking about for First Play LA. You could play it before anybody else and give us some feedback about what we should do, what we should make next. Chris is chiming in. Oh, yes, thank you for mentioning that piece of news as well. Hungry Gamer has just released all their top 5 board games nominees of the year. And they're going to be, what Hungry Gamer does is they release their list in mid-November, and they play all the games again just to make sure they can lock in and not get super biased by the end of the year, like something that just come out like late December. And instead, they're going to play Andromeda's Edge on the other 4 nominees and like pick which one is the winner of the year. We're honored to be nominated. I think that Hungry Gamer tends to pick games that are not too light, not too heavy. And he did mention in his, there's a video he has out for the nominees. And he did mention that Andromeda's Edge is at the top level of the complexity scale. But I think it stays in because it's so accessible. It's a big game that's actually not that hard to learn. And there's a lot of things going on. And of course, we're up against some tough contenders. But I think it's great that we got picked. I hope Andromeda's Edge is going to be on many Game of the Year lists. And so this is the first one that I'm hearing about, and we're excited about it. We will be at PAX Unplugged. Thank you, Rosie, for these reminders. I needed all of these. We are going to PAX Unplugged in just a week. We'll be there it's next Friday. It's December 6th, 7th, and 8th. And we're going to go there with Chris Strain. And we're going to go there with Luke Laurie, the designer, one of the designers of Andromeda's Edge. He will be there. He will be demoing the game. Chris and I will be demoing the game at the Lucky Duck Games booth. I wish I had the Lucky Duck Games booth number of their booth right now, but I don't. Luckily, they have a big duck at the top where it's not that hard to find them, and they go to PAX Unplugged every year, so they're probably at the same spot as usual. And we're excited to be there again with Lucky Duck. I love PAX Unplugged. Philly is a great city. The food is good. That convention is particularly chill and very welcoming. I think it fits Cardboard Alchemy really well because a lot of gamers that I think are willing, like brand new to the hobby, or willing to try light and medium and heavy and just everything in between, but also that appreciate beautiful games. I think this is our audience there, so I think they're going to love. Every time we were there last couple of years with Flamecraft, they loved it. Thank you, Chris. That was nicely done. Booth 2609. That's where we're going to be at PAX Unplugged. There are also going to be painted minis there for Flamecraft. Flamecraft is going to be there, of course, because Lucky Duck sells Flamecraft, and we have our Series 2 miniatures and coins. If you are looking for a last-minute gift and you know someone has Flamecraft, giving them the deluxified stuff is awesome. And what we decided to do is get one of our fans in our community to paint a series set of these minis. I will post those in a future stream, what they look like. But Cassie on Instagram does an amazing job. These are really well done minis. I'm actually very jealous that the set's not going to me. It's going to the booth. They're gorgeous. So we'll share those in the Flamecraft group and also maybe on one of these streams in the future as well. So PAX should be a fun time because it's the debut of Andromeda's Edge in the United States. The game came out on Kickstarter. We started delivering it in September. It had its international debut at Essen, where none of the games arrived. And so this time, the US, debut of the game with the game also there as well. The designer and the game. That's our new goal. So we're going to have that to share at the booth. And of course, Andromeda's Edge just came out in retail. So we're celebrating that. This is our 3rd game made at Cardboard Alchemy, and now it's in stores. So it's real. It's happening. So we're very excited for Andromeda's Edge. And it's already, as far as I've talked to stores, and they're selling out. And they're emailing us with, please, 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 how do I get some more? So that's a good sign. And I believe that's it, unless Rosie has any other reminders for me. I just want to mention all the things, but there's so many things to talk about. We have so much that's going to happen in 2025. And just because of this week, I want to say how thankful I am for everyone who's tunes in, helps support games getting made, particularly all of our longtime fans and our new fans that find out that we make beautiful games that are meant to last on the table. Well, look, we got some people chiming in. We got Evan who's saying, "What up?" There's a board game designer, and we have another board game designer. chiming in. Peter C. Hayward, the designer of Critter Kitchen. And also we were shouting out Things and Rings. I don't know if you were here for that, but that was noted as Rosie's potential game of the year. And I concur. And this is what you played over Thanksgiving. That's fun. Potion Explosion. Second time someone mentioned that in this stream. It's a good one. In My City, I keep hearing you talk about My City, you and Rosie. So I gotta play this thing. I gotta play this thing finally. Your new game, RNSM. I don't know that one. That's awesome. We'll have to check that out. And we also have Loving Andromeda's Edge. By the way, my buddy borrowed it for a big nerd weekend, and it was a hit. That's what I like to hear. You like to hear it. Oh, I see. I got you. RNSM is Ransom, a button-shy word game. I got you. Missing the vowels. I see how it goes. The vowels have been ransomed off, I guess. Button Shy is an amazing publisher. I have to shout out a publisher here because Button Shy makes, we were talking earlier about what's a good game to give for the holidays. I could put all of the Button Shy collection on there because they are the best stocking stuffer ever. They're usually about 18 cards and they're in a little small wallet. I mean, they're perfect for finding someone's theme, flowers, apparently ransom. If you feel like you've got a person in your family that's all about murder mysteries or wants to, get into that. Button Shy is amazing. They have so many games. I think I get excited just to make one Kickstarter every year or two, and they make, I don't even know how many games they publish a year. It's dozens. They just do an unbelievable job. I think they give out they have a game of the month club where you could subscribe and get a game every month, and I just don't even know how they do that. Sprawlopolis I've played, as a Button Shy game. That is a really good gift. They've got a lot of good ones, actually. Ooh, and timing-wise, this can't be better. One a month, and then a few bonus games for Black Friday, which is what we're at today. So if you are going to support anyone on Black Friday, how about an indie board game creator? That's what I think you should do. As a lot of us in the board game space are, it's not as they say with board games, you generally, how to make a small fortune in board games is start with a large fortune. It's a passion industry, and it's not really, it's about just making experiences for people. That's what we're really here for. So actually Thanksgiving weekend and the holidays are part of what we make games for in the first place, which is bringing people together, unplugging from devices, getting into chat and interacting with people. I'm such a sucker for games. I don't especially anyone who's in my boat, you're not necessarily the best at talking to new people, but with a game and over a game and that kind of an icebreaker, you can have this conversation with someone and learn about them. And it's so much smoother to talk to them about something that they care about after you've played a game with them and you've just learned what they like and what they don't like. And so anyway, here we go with some more coming in. Gotten a few games of Sea Salt and Paper with my wife for Thanksgiving. Aw, Dragonomino. That's cute. Sea Salt and Paper, I need to play. I've heard too much about it now, and I cannot let that go any further. I think that one seems good. Rove for Christmas. I don't know anything about Rove. So now I need to learn more about that. Too many games, too little time. But we wish you all a fun time chasing them all down. And until next time, I'm going to be at PAX next Friday, so I won't be able to stream. I don't know if Rosie will be around or not. Yeah, she might take over the stream, and then we'll kick it back for the rest of December. I'll be back after that. And we'll be talking about Critter Kitchen. As you can see from this background, we are going to be starting to talk about Critter Kitchen, which is coming soon to all of our backers, and then it will be here at stores in the spring. So we'll have tons to talk about with strategy and tips on play, and also we'll go over all the critics and restaurateurs and sous chefs that are in this game that we made. Yeah, what are we talking about? Critter Kitchen. You're going to know that game because that's going to be one of the hottest games of 2025. Going to pay attention because we've got some adorable critters. And I was playing Critter Kitchen. As I said, I've played it a couple times recently. I played it at BGG. People were loving it at BGG. I took it to Alex's house, and I was getting out all of the meeples. And in a game for Critter Kitchen, if you're just playing without carts, you're only going to use 6 sous chefs, and there are 37 that everyone in this stream knows about. We're going to talk about one more in the Critter Kitchen update soon. But anyway, there are so many sous chefs that you're like, oh, and there's this one, oh, and there's this one. Like, you play with a fraction of them when you're playing the game, which makes it so much fun to get the game back out. And now you've got like a whole different, sous chef rule. If you play with the zebra, or if you play with the alpaca or the butterfly or the bee, the little Yorkie dog. There's so many like they all have a fun, clever, punny name from Alex and Peter as well. So they're all fun to bring out, and then it's just a discovery of which sous chef is coming into town. Yes, we did hear from Azkadelia at All Play that Critter Kitchen is game of the year. For her, I was really excited that she liked it, and she is. We're certainly going to see her a couple times in 2025 to celebrate it. She did. I don't know if I told you this, Rosie, but so Azkadelia makes skirts and other board game geekery, dorky clothing, but it's awesome. And she makes specifically passion projects. And she said she really loves Critter Kitchen, and she did say she would make you like a jumper with Critter Kitchen. So we have to talk about that. Tons of critters on a jumper would be pretty adorable. So, or as she would say, as dorkable, or as something. But anyway, because she works for All Play, and All Play makes some Peter C. Hayward games, she does in fact have a fiction skirt and a Things and Rings skirt, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, All Play's killing it. I saw them at BGG, and they're doing so good with all their games. Really, really awesome stuff. And of course, Azkadelia is amazing. And so they are doing some fun games over there. Is it a hoop skirt? That's funny right there for the Things and Rings. That's funny. Oh man, we've reached the punniest section of the episode. So we must go. I think that's it. That's all I have to say. Just, be good to each other and game on. And we'll talk to you again soon.